Yes, the moment you listen to that montage, you should know it's time for family and values. And today is Thursday. The 8th day in the month of February 2024. It's a healthy Thursday. I'm kind of excited because today, yesterday, the BP we had, the Super Eagles made us proud. You know, when they talk of giants of Africa. So today I'm still here, very excited, very happy. And yes, today is World Cancer Day. So please, your health is very important. You know, today is World Cancer Day. The world is celebrating cancer victims that have passed away. Condolence to the families, and to those battling with one cancer or the other, our prayers are with you. Please, early detection is key. Check yourself and make sure you get tested early enough. Welcome to Family and Values. My name is Joy Abu. Good morning, Olori.
A beautiful morning to you all out there. It's another beautiful morning. Congratulations to Nigeria, and I want to believe that come that day
on Sunday we are
Sunday is a unique day. It's a divine day. So I want to believe Nigeria loco, we are going to show them, and by the grace of the Almighty God will bring that big for nothing country will give us that victory, because they started by telling us we are big for nothing. My name is remain Olori Adejoke, and David, my friends call me Olori AJ. It's good to have you this morning. I'm so excited because we're going to be discussing something that has to do with the special ones in our midst.
Yes.
So what were you doing when you were watching the match?
Oh my, you see, you know that at the point when they cancelled our second goal, I was like, Holy Spirit, take control. When they said penalties, I almost went to the keeper to do the blood of Jesus. Like, you didn't to see.
It is one match, especially Nigeria against another country is on. That is when you see people start
the praying. Unity. Did you know the unity is something else? At that place, nobody wanted to know whether you're Yoruba. We're just hugging ourselves like
nobody even wants to know whether the economy is good or bad. All they want is that Nigeria is hitting it and we're going to get the goals.
You needed to see the way we're hugging ourselves like, yeah, we won it, we did this. I was like, oh my God, this is the unity. This is what football brings. It is really exciting.
So exciting.
And today is World Cancer Day, you know, yes. And
I want to believe that it's high time we take bold step into checking ourselves, looking out for our well-being. Try. It may be difficult, those things we love. I said we. I myself am inclusive, and so it's good for us to check ourselves, check what we eat, how we eat it, what are those containers that we use to eat them, what are the ingredients, the content, the excessiveness we go, all in the name of I want it to taste like this, I want it to be like this. We need to watch all those processed foods. Too much of microwaving stuff, so many things, too much of everything is not good.
It's not good anyway.
And this write-up, I'm sure you must have come across it in some of your WhatsApp group and all that too much of sugar causes this, too much of salt causes this, too much of sugar in the days causes this. So you need to look at all those things as well, whether it is true, whether it is not. I remember when I was growing up, they will tell you on your nails, nature, they will tell you if you have a mark, certain marks on your nails,
one finger.
What the way you consume sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, when we're growing up.
That's what we were growing up.
I'll be looking at
nails. For us, they said it was a bed. Then they said there's one bed that is one divine bed. Yeah, so we used to sing that song. Give us one finger.
When you take too much sugar, you have some certain lines. I don't know how far and the research they must have gone through to have. We are Africans. There are certain things we science also help us, and we're like, we know already.
Of course,
so please, we need to watch it. And
anyway, today is going to be a very interesting one. The topic today is a topic that is so dear to us because it has to do with the people around us, the special people that most times we don't even think we should give them that hearing or say. But today it's all about them. We want to talk about them, want to celebrate them, want to know how they are doing. And of course, we'll go on our quick mini feature so that you have an idea into today's topic. When we return, our guest is in the studio to take us through this topic. We'll be right back.
Autism spectrum disorder is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects communication, learning, and behavior. Although autism can be diagnosed at any age, it is described as a developmental disorder because symptoms generally appear in the first 2 years of life. A person with autism can absolutely live a normal life with the right support and resources. Early intervention, education, and community support are key factors in helping people with autism achieve their goals and live fulfilling lives. What are signs of autism? Finding it hard to understand what others are thinking or feeling, getting very anxious about social situations, finding it hard to make friends or preferring to be on their own, finding it very difficult to say how they feel. Autism people may act in a different way to other people, finding things like bright light or loud noises overwhelming, stressful, or uncomfortable. Studies indicate the rate of autism is rising, but causes are not well understood. Scientists have found rare gene changes or mutations, as well as small common genetic variations in people with autism imply a genetic component. It is important to note that autism is not a mental health problem, but a developmental condition that affects how you see the world and how you interact with others. Just like anyone else, autistic people can have a good mental health. However, people with autism do often experience mental health problems. There is no cure existing for autism spectrum disorder, and there is no one-size-fits-all treatment. The goal of treatment is to maximize your child's ability to function by reducing autism spectrum disorder symptoms and supporting developmental and learning behaviors. In all, autistic people should be well cared for always.
Yes, welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've not missed anything because we are about to go into the conversation. We are streaming across our social media platform, Galaxy Television, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on Twitter. Please download the Galaxy mobile app so that you can watch us on the go. Today's topic, of course, from the mini feature you've seen, we are talking about autism. And it's something that we see around us, even though most of us don't really know that our kids have these things. We take them to spiritual churches for deliverance, you know. And today we have our guest. She's one person that is dealing with those kids. She has been there for years, taking care of the kids. So she's the right person to tell us all we need to know about this topic in the person of Yemi Ojo Arumokodo. I think I got that name correctly. Yes, she's an educational diagnostic special needs consultant. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
I love the fact that you're looking radiant this morning, and from the mini feature you were just like, yes, this is what we are talking about.
Okay, now we are on the mainland. You're coming from the island.
I am coming from the island.
How's the traffic this morning?
I left home at 6 and I got here 8:15.
Wow.
That should tell you.
Oh, thank you,
God
thank
bless
you,
thank you for that commitment.
That's to show that this topic is actually so dear to you.
It is dear to me.
Okay, let's start. For those people who don't really know what autism is all about, in a layman's language, what is it all about? When you tell somebody that my child has autism, what are we talking about?
The first thing I want to say is it has nothing to do with parents.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of parents who, in my course of working with them, they blame themselves for what they did or didn't do. And then you begin to hear mom saying, oh, I did this when I was pregnant. Maybe this was the reason why my child is like that. So the first thing I always would tell parents is that it has nothing to do with you. Okay. It's just like every one of us that have babies. Once we get pregnant, we are not responsible for how the baby develops in our stomach or in our womb. It's the same thing. That's the same thing with the children with autism. So I want to first of all tell parents that it has nothing whatsoever to do with you or what you did not do, and don't let anybody tell you that you are the cause of your child having autism. Okay. I want that to be very, very important, that it's clear to them. Okay. So autism is a developmental disability. It has something to do with how the child was developing in the womb. And what are the signs? Some of the signs, it has to do with language. So you see children with autism, they are not able to communicate appropriately. Then social skills is also one thing, and they have the repetitive behavior. And I used to just tell people that the children with autism, they look at us and say, what's wrong with us? Just like we look at them and say, what's wrong with them? Because they see world in a different way. Just like we see and view things in a different form. And that's just what it is. So autism has to do with the brain, why the child was developing. So it has nothing whatsoever to do. However, we hear that there are some environmental factors. We hear there are some genetic factors. And I must say right now that research has gone on and on. Nobody can say this is the reason why a child has autism.
Okay, I want to ask, who is at risk when you look at autism? Who is at risk?
Everybody's at risk, but research says that boys are more at risk than girls. And if you look around, you find out that we have a lot more of boys who have the term, or who are labeled with autism, than the girls. Now, does it now mean the girls don't have? Just like us women, God has created us to be able to, we are like shock absorbers. So we have a lot of girls who are on the spectrum, but we never would know they're on the spectrum until later in life. And as a result of that, early intervention that will be required for them, they miss out on that. So boys are more prevalent to have autism than the girls.
Okay, when you started, you said it has nothing to do with parents, but there's this mess out there that says, oh, it's as a result of how you are sleeping, the drugs you took during pregnancy, the stress. In fact, there's a case very close to me, and the mother will always say, no, it was the doctors that gave a wrong injection when I gave birth, you know. So now that brings me, can the procedures of pregnancy actually affect, because sometimes they'll tell you the way you eat, what you eat affects the baby, the drugs. So are there certain drugs that one might have taken during pregnancy that somehow along the line has affected the baby and has resulted to that? I don't know. So can pregnancy or whatever that, just clear that, because you started by saying it has nothing to do with parents, but there's still that belief out there. They'll say, no, it's maybe the way you slept, maybe the water in the stomach entered the baby's eye or head. So you know.
Very quickly, I will say that how mom slept while she was pregnant did not have anything to do with autism.
Okay.
But there are environmental factors that, and even at that, there is no clear research to say, okay, this is the case, that environmental factor is a cause of the autism. However, pollution or the age of the parent, the older the parent, just like we have with what's this one now? Down syndrome. The older the parent, the more likely that a child will be born with autism. But that the parent ate one particular food, or the mom slept in a particular way, the research has not confirmed that yet.
That's the reason.
That is the cause of autism.
Okay, how do people with autism, how do you keep them calm? Because, you know, they're always active, you know, they don't, how do you keep them calm?
First of all, they have what we call sensory needs. So you see children flapping, they go back and forth, they are spinning things. Sometimes a little bit of pressure, because it's a sensory skill and need they have. You see some children, they hit their head on the floor. They continue to hit it harder and harder and harder. It has to do with a sensory need. So there are different ways they can go for walks. You can take them outside to go play soccer. They can go for runs just to dissipate that energy, if that's what it is. So like us, we will always want to find out, okay, why is this guy? There's always, what is the function of the behavior? So when we know what the function of the behavior is, then you are able to meet that need. So the function of the behavior is, why is this child behaving this way? Why is the child screaming? Why is the child flapping? Why is the child spinning? Why is this? You have to know the function of that behavior, first of all, to be able to meet that need in the lives of the child. So if the child is running, you can try different methods. One of the things I do, I just, a little bit of pressure, and they just calm down. if that is what it is. And if it's not it is, you see the child do that. So sometimes you have to now, and that's why it still comes back to, why is this child having this particular behavior at this time? So I cannot say, oh, this is one way of treating or dealing with a child who is very active or hyperactive at that particular period. Because autism is not a one-size-fits-all. I have headache, I will ask you to take paracetamol. And you take paracetamol, you go to sleep, you're fine. But that's not the case with autism.
Okay, now we know that there are early signs right from birth. Parents who are observant and those ones who are quick to understand will know that, okay, this is where this child is heading to and treatment will start. Can you list those signs, especially for parents who still have babies and are still wondering? Because sometimes, 3 months, 6 months, what are the signs? And before you know it, they'll turn to prayers. They'll want to go to one deliverance. They'll want to, it's common. They'll say, oh, take the child, maybe the child is possessed. So what are those early signs that parents can look out for and start noticing that, okay, no, so we need to take it this way. This is where this child is heading to.
Let's talk about social skills. You find out that even children, your little babies, once they are 3 months, they begin to recognize you, right? And then you are going away, their eyes are following you. You smile, they smile.
Back at
you tickle, you do some funny things, you know, and they respond. But children with autism, they don't. Sometimes.
Okay.
But I want to quickly say this. Sometimes children with autism will develop properly. They meet all the developmental signs, and between month 18 and 2 or 3, they begin to lose every one of those things they have developed or they have achieved, or the distance they have. I used to say the distance they've covered, they begin to lose it. So a child that was smiling, all of a sudden you are doing the same things you are doing and the child is looking at you or was not even responding. Then it becomes a problem. They are not cooing when they're supposed to coo, you know. And then you know babies, when you say, oh, they respond, and then, oh, you know, they go back and forth, they smile, you know, they wiggling their legs, you know. Then that it means that that child, there's something off. And that's the time that you need to go to the doctor. And I would advise parents that don't miss your children's doctor appointment, especially when they're those early stages. Because the purpose of those visiting is for the doctor to see and evaluate their development. So even if you don't have the money, please borrow money. I'm sorry to say this. Because early signs, the earlier we pick up that there's autism, the better for the child, because intervention that starts immediately, early as possible, we enhance the lifestyle of the child and the development of the child. So it's important that they do take their children for those doctor's appointments as at when due. So yes, the child does not look at you. You're calling the child. It's like the child is in our own world or in his own world. Then it's time to begin to look at. The child doesn't smile when you smile. The child doesn't respond to his or her name. And you have checked that the hearing there is okay. Then you need to begin to run to the doctor so that you can have that diagnosis very fast. And it's not a stigma.
Okay.
Please don't go to church. Go and see the doctor first. Get the diagnosis that is required. Get the support that is required. Then go to church and go and pray. Because we can't take God outside of anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Because even with the early intervention that we're talking about, we still need God. And I've heard people, I just had a client recently that was telling me, oh, the child used to have ASD, autism, and then the child is now ADHD. When he told me the first time, I didn't see anything because I was doing an assessment. But when I had to speak to the parent again because I wanted some background information, and I began to ask questions. Because I saw the child and I said, that didn't tell me this child is on the spectrum, but I see that he's on the spectrum. So I had to actually drag it out of him. And he said something that broke my heart. He said it's a stigma. That's not only that, but the fact that even in church, people did not allow their children to play with his son. So for that reason, a lot of parents, they hide it. But it's not something to be ashamed about. Take your child, let your child get the support that they need. Because at the end of the day, the society is still where it's going to be. Yeah. Your child is going to continue to grow. And if the child does not get the support that he needs or she needs on time, it becomes a little bit difficult as the child gets older. It's just like you are having pain and you quickly take paracetamol, or you wait for it until it becomes something that is not. Then you have to now start taking strong medication and everything because we did not treat it when we're supposed to treat it.
Okay, I want to I wanted to ask you this question, that how do you expect parents who have this, the guidance, but you have almost said everything. But this is where I want to take you a little bit back. You said for the female, because we are shock absorbers, aren't we strong?
We are strong, of course.
We are strong in every way. But, for the male, how do you think they should, handle them if they have them?
The male.
The male. You said it's a bit difficult for them because, male always, because of their kind of personality and all that. You said the female can take it in, but the male, it's kind of a bit difficult to handle the autism in them.
Okay, let me quickly make a correction.
Okay.
I said that it is more prevalent in male, which means it shows quickly in male than in females.
Okay.
And for that reason, we find out that we see a lot more of male boys and then men having autism than women. That's what I was saying.
Okay. I'm clear on that.
Okay, yes, we've been discussing autism with our guest in the studio. It's actually a very interesting topic that I don't want you to miss. We'll go on our word of mouth, and when we return, the conversation continues. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back. I'm sure you know why we've been smiling, because we've been discussing this topic. It's very interesting, it's very educative. That's one thing I want people to know, and I want parents to please pay attention to what we are discussing today. It's sympathetic how the society receive kids with autism, and that's why we're trying to create the awareness that, hey, it's not what you people think it is. It's just a developmental dysfunction. Okay, I wanted to ask this question now. This was a case I knew quite well. The girl was doing very okay, not until they had a very terrible accident. And immediately after that accident, she slipped into coma and came out of it, and she was never herself. In fact, she literally started learning how to talk, how to say the hello to her name, and this was about a girl that was like 10 years old as at when that accident happened. Now at that point the parents didn't even, they had gone through the therapical stage, but they didn't want to accept that we are dealing with this. Is it possible for a child to start having it at a later age in life, maybe as 11, 12, you just wake up, or something like this accident case? Are there cases like that that could cause it also?
I believe that it's a spectrum. Now, it's for parents whose kids were diagnosed early, it's the best. But sometimes we don't even know that autism is there until they go to school. And then you begin to see the disparity amongst the children. I remember I said that it's more prevalent, it shows quickly, or it manifests quickly or presents quickly in males than in females. And this may just be, I use the word may, just be a typical case that it was there all along. But the signs were not as pronounced as as it should be. And then sometimes autism is very tricky. You literally need an eye that is trained to pick up the signs.
AI that is trained.
Yes, like I was talking about this child that parent didn't tell me anything about autism. It was my eyes that picked it up, that this child is on the spectrum. Because if sometimes they don't open up their mouth, they don't talk, and they are not amongst people, you will not even know that they're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's a spectrum because it affects them, those people in different ways. We have the very mild ones, we have the ones that are moderate, and then of course we have the ones that are very severe. So the ones that are very severe, everybody knows that there's something that is the matter with this child. But the one that is very mild, you wouldn't know. It takes a trained eye to be able to recognize it. That's something that is off about this child. So it may just be, this is maybe the case of the young lady. It was there. And then we also have to have an understanding that the fact that the child has autism doesn't mean the child cannot go on to become very successful. We have children now, they're in university, they're doing so well, they have their careers and all of that. And those kind of children, the only thing you might know that something is off is maybe it has to do with their social skills. But the language is not affected, the communication is okay, but you will know that something is off when they begin to have that interaction with you. And then it's like, what did they do this man? What did they do this woman? It may just be that that person is on the spectrum.
Okay, I want to ask, is it true that you need to go through repeated process with them for them to be able to accept who they are? As in, you continue to remind them, maybe you want them to do certain things. You know, when you pick your pen, this is how you hold it. You know, many of the parents are not patient to go through that process. So I want that clarity, because I have one very close to me. So I was like, you need to continue to treat them like, you know, they are young and they need assistance all the time, because many don't want to believe they have special, you know, this special breed around them. So is it true that you need to go through repeated process, as in trying to guide them in the morning when you wake up, this is how you brush your teeth? Is it true that you need all those steps, you know, to assist them as they go?
That's a good question. It's important for parents to be very patient, and then patient, and then patient again, and continue to be patient. The cup of patience will run over, and you still have to be patient. It's very important, and it's not just not only to parents, even to the educators as well. Because when you have a child that is on the spectrum, you have to be patient. In fact, when you have any child, you have to be patient. Now, when you have a child on the spectrum, you have to be extremely patient. You need the gift of patience. You need the baptism of patience. We cannot rush them. So yes, and that's why we still I talked about early intervention. Because that child, you have to teach the child the same thing over and over and over and over again. Very, very important. And then as he does it, and one of the ways to help the child to remember is when we give positive reinforcement. Oh, well done, have a high five, great job, I like that, Johnny, let's do it again.
That's excitement.
Let's do it again. You are excited about it. It sticks in the child that, oh, when I did this, Mama was excited, and they do it again. But you cannot say, whatever you are teaching that child, you have to, if you want to teach the child to just lift up something from the floor, give yourself 1 hour. So that the child may be able to get it in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes. Or it may take that 1 hour. But because you have given yourself 1 hour, you are fine. You cannot rush. You know, we parents, we're always in a hurry, especially in the morning. You are trying to get these children to school. And it's not only that, even when we are teaching them simple skill, wash plates or take a bath, we are almost in a hurry. I've had parents, even when we're having counseling with parents on the spectrum or any child with disability, I used to just tell the parent that you have to just be patient. Hey, Mrs. O, but it's not, I say you have to be patient. You cannot rush them. If at the end of the day, what is the purpose of the early intervention? It's for the child to have independence at the end of the day. I met a woman who was 50 and she was on the spectrum. What happened? I went into this particular place and I went to the restroom and I just opened the door and there was this lady. She was in the toilet and I apologized. I came and I was wondering, you are supposed to know that you should lock the door. So I went to this place, to the owner of the, and I was telling her, so, oh, that she's on the spectrum. Her mom had just passed, so there's nobody to take care of her, and now they have to they brought her to this center to now teach a 50-year-old lady how to be independent.
Wow.
Now I gave this story to let parents understand that we are not going to be with our children for the rest of their life.
Yeah, true.
So it is important that the independent skills that they require, that is needed, they give it to them. And that's why they have to be patient. That is why they have to be patient and not get frustrated. Because it can be frustrating. A child with autism and parents that have children, a family that have children with autism, it's quite challenging.
Yeah.
Very, very challenging, I must say.
Okay, now let's talk about the educational background of these kids. You know, sometimes, like what you said earlier on, you see that kids, once you bring in toddlers that have that autism, most schools don't want to just associate with that child. They feel like, no, you know, is there a special school that these kids can go to, that they see their peers, everybody's in the same, having the same syndrome, and they feel like, okay, we are not left out? Because we are talking about stigmatization. There was a case of a school where my kids were, the child had it, and so many kids were avoiding this child, so the child was always alone, you know. And then when the parents come, you just see him running to his mom because he felt like that's the only friend. So is there a special school that once you discover your child has this, to avoid that societal stigmatization getting worse, just take the child there and the child has the care, and you know that everybody in that school understands, just like you have the school for the deaf and the blind, you know, they know that yes, this is what we all are dealing with. Is there a school like that?
I'm sorry, I don't, okay, those of us in this field don't believe that a child should be put with with the same children or other children that have the same thing. Let's also, we're talking about what are the three things that is our characteristics of autism. One of it is social skills. Do you understand? And it's important that they are amongst other children so that they can learn the social skills. Remember that even regular kids, a child that is not eating at home, we eat in school. Why? Because everybody is eating.
Everybody's eating.
A child that will refuse to talk at home, you talk in the school.
So others are talking.
Exactly. So if you put a child with autism amongst the kids with autism, what do you expect? You can't expect the child to improve.
At all.
We don't expect that. So what do? The child can go to a school that has another school.
Okay.
For example, the Learning Place Center is a school that I know that has a center for children with autism, and they have the mainstream school.
Okay.
So the children with autism, when it has to do with fine arts, music, they integrate with the
mainstream school. Okay.
And then that's all. Not only that, I also know, because I was a consultant with them. What they also do is after a while that child begins to go to mainstream, maybe just one day in a week.
Okay.
But I trained in the US. That was how we did it. So I was one of the I ran a program called PPCD, preschool PPCD, preschool program for children with disability. It's between the ages 3 and 5. And what we did there is the children will eat with the rest of the class. They will go for PE. They will do music.
Wow.
They will go for the programs that they have. They will go for it. However, they come back even to the program to learn. So because the learning is tailored to their needs. And it's also specialized learning. They need physiotherapy, they pick them up from there. Occupational therapy, they pick them from there. What's the other one? Speech therapy, they pick them from there. Then they go out for resource. Resource means that the special education teacher will come in, take the child out for one-on-one.
Okay.
But we don't just leave the kids there and expect that because we don't want them to. How do they learn the social skills? How do they learn how to talk? So it's something for parents to think about. And then I also believe that our schools also have to begin to teach the other children to be accommodating.
Very important.
Right in the midst.
Accommodating. And not say, oh, it's disheartening, really.
Yeah.
When you hear a parent say, oh, don't play with this, don't play with John, or don't play with Mary, or don't play with Jacob, because...
I don't put my daughter and my
Because
son
we are also teaching the children discrimination.
Yeah.
When you begin to do that to children, that you cannot play with this child because this child has this, you are teaching your child to be discriminative. And we don't want that. So we want to teach children to be integrative, to be inclusive. And that's one of the things we learn. We cannot isolate these children and expect these children to become 25 and you expect them to function in the larger society. It's not going to be possible because we have not given them that opportunity to interact with the larger society.
Okay, I want to find out, because I know the someone with the spectrum, okay, is known to have special traits. They're good in art, just like you mentioned. They're good when it comes to painting. Some of them are even good when it comes to music. How can one develop this in them? You know, from what age, even as you go through that process of treatment or therapy, how can one start noticing which area they are good at, so that you'll be able to bring them aside and continue to grow them on that?
I'm not trying to advertise schools, but I know another school, Pinefield. I also work with Pinefield. That school has graduated children who were on the spectrum, but they were amazing in music, amazing in art, and amazing in math calculation. Yes.
Wow. Hey.
Okay.
Wow.
Their brain, this boy's brain can calculate large numbers faster than the calculator.
Yeah.
So what do? These schools, I know, they will now focus on that skill and ability and develop it. And they do IGCSE, they pass, and they go on to university. So it's just for parents. But we also have some parents that will say, hey, no, I don't want maybe art. No. I want my child to read. I want my child to this. But your child can draw. Focus on the drawing. Let the child go to an art school and develop that skills. So sometimes it's also parents are the ones that are holding back these children, and you can't blame them. Because in Nigeria, if you're not a mama doctor, you should be mama lawyer, mama engineer. You don't even want to be mama teacher.
But they bring home, you know, speed money with the art, with the music, with the writing of the notes and everything. It brings fast money too.
I agree. Money. So there has to be orientation. We have to reorientate our minds, not us only, the parents, but even the society. Because in Nigeria, we are finding it even very difficult to have, we don't have vocational schools where these kids can go. And then even to you take them, even let us say mechanic. I cannot take this child.
Not even from the government?
I don't know. For now, I don't know. I stand to be corrected. But I don't know of a place where everything that a child or children with disability, I know there is a technical college somewhere, but we need more than that. Even in this Lagos, we can't just have one. We should have more, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because we're only talking about autism, but there are other disabilities. There are other disabilities.
Okay, I would like us to take it back to societal belief. Once you realize that your child has autism or is an autistic child, the first thing the relatives will say is, take the child to church. Go for deliverance. Now, from our mini feature, we actually heard that it's not a mental issue, it's a development. But so many people are still finding it difficult to believe. When you go to the rural areas, we are in the urban areas. In the rural areas where they have those children, most of them are in healing homes. Because one person believes it's a mental issue that needs to be dealt with, and so those children are there under chains and they are beaten and they are every day they are giving one this thing or the other. How can we bring out awareness, sensitization to let parents know that number one is not a mental issue, so do not isolate your children. Secondly, it's not church. We are not taking God out of it, but like you said, while you're doing the therapy, while you're taking your child for treatment, back it up with prayers. But don't solely carry your child and dump
in the church.
In the church. How do we make parents understand this aspect? Because it goes beyond just stigmatization. It starts with the parents themselves. You realize that this is my child. If somebody tells you, okay, take your child to the healing man, you say, no, I'm taking my child to the therapist. It's two different things. So how do we get parents to wake up to this reality?
Thank you. I will say two things. Therapy is expensive. Therapy is very expensive. And the government is not doing enough. I'm sorry. Therapy is very, very expensive. And parents are not able to afford it. Parents are not able to afford it. Now, I always would go back to the developed world where it's the federal government that is responsible and is funding special education or special needs. But that's not the case here. So you find it is very expensive. Very, very expensive. That's one. Number two, we talked about those in the rural area, maybe foot soldiers, where we have to now, it's almost like we are going to go from door to door to begin to educate people on not just autism, but disabilities in general, so that they know. And now, when they now know, where do they get the intervention? I know that they have some doctors in Lut, but it is rising every day. The number is increasing, and we are not, the number of specialists are not increasing with the rate of the increasing. Is it increment of the disabilities? So we have to create public awareness, and it's not a one-time thing. It's going to be a continuous thing. Thank God, even in Nigeria now, we are talking about autism. Maybe 20 years ago, it was still under the table.
Yeah.
It was still under the table. I would dare to say that. I mean, I schooled in Nigeria here. I went to the College of Education, and whilst I was in College of Education before I traveled abroad for my degrees, I never heard of a special education. It was when I went to the US, they said special. I said, which one is that? And I'm telling you, I never heard about it. Of course, I knew people were blind. Of course, I knew people were deaf. But I did not ever know that there was education that we could train. We could train. Teachers could be trained to be able to educate them. So it's important that we go back to the drawing board, number one, and put things, government, not just the government, church, public, everybody, we need to come together, number one, to see how we can create that awareness so that everybody is aware. Whether you are in the village, when you look at your child, say, hey, what is wrong with this child? I heard. And some of this awareness can be done even with pidgin English. We can be done on the radio. Thank God for smartphone now. Social media is everywhere. You know, so I believe that we have to go back to the drawing board, and we have to go have foot soldiers now, where we go. It's just like in those days when they were going to do census. Many years when they were young, they went everywhere to educate everybody on censor, why censor was important. I think we need to do that.
Okay, even as I want you to take your final advice, I want you to put in cognizance. Can it ever wear out? Maybe they get to the age of 60, 70. You know, I'm just asking. You know, it's a bit difficult for one to find out that I have a son who is about 40, 50, and is yet to get married, and he's a special. He's someone with autism. Okay. Then again, if they should fail on their treatment, I just wanted to wrap it up in like 60 seconds.
Because of our time.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay, in 2 minutes, autism is a lifetime thing.
Okay.
I want us to understand that.
No matter what.
No matter what, autism is a long time thing. But with intervention, early intervention, they are able to manage their life and become independent and even successful.
Wow.
Now, when it comes to marriage, I was just thinking about that. I didn't even know that question will come. I believe that arrange it. Arrange it. Understand one thing, that even though the child is autistic, his biological clock is still the same.
Normal.
So, which means they have the sexual urge, they have all of it. So if the young man cannot go and talk to a lady, mom, dad, please help us arrange it. Yes.
Okay, thank you so very much, Yemi Ojo Aramukudo. It's so good to have you, and we're so delighted that you could make it down here. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your tolerance. Thank you for your long suffering.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that God, because I'm telling you, they cannot pay you. No matter how much you charge them, if you want to really charge them, no one can pay you. But it is not just about the money.
It's the passion.
It's about the passion,
that you
the
have.
love and the affection you have for these special people. And I want to believe that we have learned one or two things. Please copy this, share it from our social media platform, from Facebook to Twitter. Send it to your loved ones. Let them watch and listen to what we've discussed today. And I hope you have a wonderful day ahead of you. Don't give up on them. God is not giving up on you. They are special. They are made to be special in your life, and they have a reason for being there. My name is Remain Adejoke Adubidevi. Olori AJ. See you tomorrow. Have a lovely day.
Okay, now when our guest was speaking, you could see the passion in her, and at a point you could see her emotional aspect, because she felt like you people are not doing enough for the people, the special need kids. Please, we are appealing to the government in any way you can step in, especially when she talked about the therapy being expensive. So you can imagine someone not wanting to go into therapy but not having the resources to go to it. So you can imagine that pain. Please, we're appealing to our government to do something, look into that area, and so that you can help people like Yemi Ojo Aramukudo make her job easier for her. My name is Joy Abu. See you tomorrow on a lighter Friday. Stay tuned. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.